Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video with KBA Electrical. Today we are in the little town of Reidsville, North Carolina, outside of the mostly empty Pennrose Mall, where we will be taking a walk through and checking out this dead mall. The mall first opened its doors on October of 1968 and was named after tobacco magnate Jeff Penn, owner of the nearby Chinca Penn plantation. At the time of its opening, it had two anchor stores, Rose's, which was located in the middle, and Prego Gas, located on the north end. It also had a lot of smaller specialty stores, such as a bank, a shoe store, a bookstore, dry cleaners, a florist, and more. In August 1970, Belt opened as a Belt Klein on the south end of the building, replacing their Belt Stevens location downtown. In 1978, Prego Gas went out of business, and JCPenney took over the space in 1986. After only 15 years in operation, JCPenney shut its doors in 2001, beginning the mall's steady decline. From that point on, more and more businesses shut their doors, with Belk and Rose's being the only remaining anchors. And, as a result of the growth of the nearby towns and the mall's severe lack of modernization, it saw less and less traffic and steadily grew into a state of disrepair. As of now, Belk, Rose's, and Bob Adams Florist appear to be the only stores still open to the public. In today's video, we will not only be checking out the nostalgic vintage common areas, but also the abandoned North Wing and JCPenney. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and head inside. As you enter the mall, you are immediately hit with the old, retro, vintage feeling. This mall is basically a time capsule. And right away, you'll notice the drop-down metal awnings there below the ceiling. These definitely have a very vintage and retro look. These are pretty cool. Obviously, you don't really see these anymore, so that is pretty neat to see. Right here is one of the service corridors. I assume that's mainly what that's used for. Now, as we walk through the mall here, you're basically going to see a lot of closed up businesses and closed down shops. Unfortunately, this mall, there's just not much here anymore. Here's another one of those little lobby areas with just miscellaneous plants and a riding mower. You will be seeing more of that. That seems to be a trend through this mall, riding mowers. Now, I'm not sure what this little place was. People thought at one time it was originally a restaurant. However, it is believed that the former owner of Bob Adams Florist built that just for the flowers. So, who knows? Rose's is getting a jump start on Christmas, I guess. At this point, we are entering the north end of the mall, which is in terrible shape at this point, especially to be part of an active mall still. This place has just really fallen down. Here we can see two more riding mowers. So like I say, these riding mowers seem to be a theme throughout the mall. This wing right here is absolutely destroyed, and I'm not really quite sure what happened here, what would have caused this. My guess is just the numerous repairs to the roof over the years. We are now entering the former JCPenney's. Now, when the mall originally opened, this place was originally a Prego Gas. However, JCPenney's ended up taking over the space, where they only remained here for 15 years before this place shut down for good. This corner appears to be either where customer service was or some type of specialty service they offered here. I can't really tell though. Here are the bathrooms. It looks like before closing they evidently were having a water problem. I didn't venture too far in here though, because the smell was pretty horrid. Around the sales floor are these little rooms. I'm not quite sure what these were. I don't think they were offices. Based on there being old shelves in this one, I assume they were like little stock rooms or supply rooms. Back up here toward the front, you can see the quite extensive damage that is taking place in this former department store. It is quite something what has happened here. I'm guessing most of this is just due to a pretty messed up roof, but for a building that is still technically active, it is unreal the amount of damage that has gone on here. Again, I really cannot get over the shape that this building is in. It is unreal. I mean, just look at that ceiling. That is something. They must have a terrible roof. Right here we have this little back area where there looks like a little closet or supply room. And then I'm not sure what this room was, if it was a small little office or supply room. My guess would be supply room. At this point, we are now entering the back office slash supply slash staff area. As you'll see, it is just destroyed back here as well. There's this little hallway with rooms coming off. This room right here appeared to be some kind of office of some type. That would be my guess of to what this was. This room right here, I'm not really quite sure what this would have been, because it has a lot of like what appears to be data and communications type stuff, as well as an old safe. That was pretty cool. So just general maintenance type things. Yet it also looked like it could have been an office just because of the two windows on the walls, the two service windows. So I'm not quite sure what the purpose of this room was. This room right here was the old break room. Back in the day, this is where employees would relax and maybe eat. I'm not quite sure about this room either. My guess would be conference room though. At this point, we are entering the back stock room, which ran the rest of the length of this area through here. I really needed a larger flashlight. Here's like the electrical room with the panels and everything. Those on the right are the staff bathrooms. And all out through there is just a stock room. There's the back doors right there. Again, I definitely needed a better flashlight, but it was basically just a big open room. Again, like the rest of the store, just not much in here. And then behind this wall right here is the sales floor. I'm not quite sure about the layout of the sales floor, as it can kind of vary store by store, and then this one was on the smaller side too, so I'm not sure which departments were where, so I'm not even going to try and guess. We are now exiting back out into this front lobby slash vegetable area, and now it looks like at one time there were doors where those windows were, just judging from there being exit signs hanging right there, and then it would match the other end. And then that right there on the left side there, looks like at one time it went into that other wing you see there, although I'm not entirely sure. At this point, we'll begin making our way back out into the common areas again, and I'll try and go over just a few of the businesses that are here as we make our way back towards where we came in. Although again, most of this mall is just closed up grates and closed up businesses. This on the right though appears to be maybe the mall office, where this wall goes through here. I'm not entirely sure, but that is definitely what it looked like. And then on the right we have one of the few active businesses, Bob Adams Florist, although I bet this won't be around much longer either. On the left, you can see where a former Hibbett sports store was, and then just a bunch of plants sitting around in a cleaning cart. On the right, we can see an old one-stop cellular, and on the left, a jewelry store, again, all closed up. Here we can see a Hallmark store, again, gone out of business. This right here is a service quarter. As you can see, puddle of standing water down there at the end, so that's just classy. Let's walk back down the atrociously long ramp. I don't know why they have this whole area blocked off. My guess would be because the ceiling's in such bad shape. And then right there, at one time, was an entrance to Belk. However, they closed Belk off from the rest of the mall in 2016. And that brings us to the end of our tour. Here's a couple of still shots I took while inside.